Hi, I'm Neil Bass. I am a former Spanish teacher, and I quit my teaching job my 5th year of teaching, and I was getting paid about $78K pre-tax. This is my story of why I resigned. I'll start off with my teaching beginnings. I started teaching through the Teach for America program in Los Angeles, California, and teaching Spanish. After my commitment, I was set on not teaching again, ever, except things change, right? So then I moved to Nevada, to Las Vegas with my ex-boyfriend with no job, nothing lined up. So I applied to a coffee shop, worked there for a few months, and then eventually I got a job as an instructional aide, a small autonomous charter school here in East Las Vegas. So again, I did not go into that school thinking that I was going to become a teacher eventually. I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to be in life, but I needed some income. So I literally took a $40,000 pay cut because in LA I was getting paid $80,000. I don't even know how much money I would be getting paid now if I was a 5th year or 6th year teacher. Probably a ridiculous amount of money. Anyways, so $40,000 pay cut. I was getting paid maybe $18 an hour. It wasn't even salaried. But then something happened. I actually developed relationships with my colleagues and also students, and I just felt like there was so much joy in that place, in that school, which is something that I had never experienced with Teach for America, with my school site. So I decided to apply as a teacher. I got hired in 2020, resigned in 2023. I'll start with a positive. I actually love teaching. I developed that love because the first 2 years I felt like I didn't know where the passion was to serve students. But my 5th year, I actually realized that I was good at teaching and that I had developed my craft. I felt more confident in what I was doing when I was going up there. I felt confident to give advice to others, and I knew how to problem solve on the spot, which was something that I hadn't done before. I also was at a point where I wasn't burnt out. I made sure that I left my work at work and home at home. And so I had a pretty sustainable 5th year for the most part. But let me show you these 7 maybe unique, maybe common problems that I experienced and pushed me out of the classroom. Let's start with the first one, toxic positivity. And basically what it is, it's pretending that everything is okay, putting a smile on your face in front of the students, in front of staff, and not talking about the elephant in the room, and not creating an environment to allow constructive criticism and to consider other ways to operate the school. And you know, administration at this particular school would always say, oh, we have an open door policy. You can come in whenever if you need something or whatever, like you have a concern. But here's the thing. Number one, who has time to develop a professional discussion or topic to talk to the principal about? Number two, the principal is ultra busy. Everyone is busy that there's almost no time to reflect on the decisions that are being made on how to operate the school. So it's almost like there's no opportunity for you to do that. And the third one is that they would listen to you, but there would be no follow-up. There would be no action after that particular moment. So is it really an open door policy when there isn't like a proper time or a proper procedure or protocol of hey, let's talk about some of the concerns that you have. Something that I would have appreciated is if the principal or somebody in leadership, not a coach, not an academic coach, but somebody from leadership to do one-on-ones with teachers and really, one, get to know them and develop that trust with their staff so that staff members actually feel welcomed and feel comfortable expressing certain concerns, because not everybody at a school is going to feel comfortable going up to you. You have to create an environment that is constructive and that is strong, that there's trust between teachers and admin. And I just felt like a lot of teachers wouldn't say anything because there was no trust. The next one is kind of ridiculous to even think about, but the constant change of rules. And so this was an autonomous charter school. So in contrast to district schools, they have more flexibility on how to change, attendance, grading policy. And look, I consider myself a person of integrity, and I will follow the rules if the rules are beneficial to students and staff. There were multiple times where I would enforce the rules and it actually backfired on me. I sent a student for a dress code violation to the office, and the office told me that the student does not violate the dress code. And it's interesting because they defined the dress code earlier in the year and it just constantly changed. Attendance, the late policy changed too. Nobody knew what the rules were. And so it's just crazy. And some teachers wouldn't enforce the rules, and I just eventually stopped following them because I just couldn't keep up with so many changes. I mean, just like students need structure, teachers, humans in general need structures. And y'all ready for the next one? So no joy, no trust, no flexibility. So students were not allowed to eat lunch in the hallways, inside of classrooms, only in the cafeteria. They couldn't even eat outside or play outside during lunch. Not to mention that nobody was allowed to use their phones during lunch. I understand, a no phone policy inside of the classroom and even in between the hallways, but to say that no phones allowed in the lunchroom is just kind of ridiculous to me. And you could tell that these students just did not have any pride for their school whatsoever. When they had assemblies, they were always 100% of them were always awkward and it's just not, no joy. I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna say it. It literally felt like a prison for both students and teachers. Okay, this next one is a little controversial. And if you know me, this is probably going to surprise you because I'm not very vocal about it as much as I should be. But I have a personal belief that schools, institutions should not ever be political heavy, or in other words, I just don't think that if you're going to talk about an issue that is political, that you should only talk about one side of the issue. And so at this particular school, it had a specific political leaning, even though they wouldn't say it or recognize it, and would disregard any other perspectives or ways of thinking. Just to give it to you straight, they were definitely on the left than they were on the conservative side. And I actually spoke to some teachers that were a little bit more conservative and actually shared the same sentiments that I had. So why would your political beliefs be problematic in a school? So I'll tell you what, the first one, I was a Spanish teacher, and so learning and celebrating the Day of the Dead is actually something commendable, and actually, people look fond to it. They think it's beautiful. But as a Christian, as a conservative Christian, I actually do not celebrate the Day of the Dead. And I would always feel a little awkward talking about it because other Spanish teachers would actually have students build altars and things like that. And that's like entering the spiritual realm. Second, I also do not support the promotion of the LGBTQ lifestyle, and this particular school would do it like 110% over almost every day, and students felt very comfortable talking about their sexuality and their gender, and I actually don't think that students should be talking about that kind of stuff in schools. Like, that's something that you need to talk to a counselor or to your parents. It should be private. It should not be out in the world and giving a space to it. Look, there's nothing wrong with you identifying as LGBTQ. Everybody has free will, just like you and I. But the thing is that schools should not be expected to affirm and to promote that lifestyle, because it disregards people like me, right? The people that probably do not support that lifestyle. And so it disregards and invalidates other perspectives. And it kind of, promoting the LGBTQ lifestyle is kind of like saying, we don't care what they think, we just care about what we think. So that's why, in my opinion, it should be kept private, because it is controversial, because there are people that have different opinions about it. Got cold real quick. All right, the next one is the grading policy. So this isn't unique to my previous school site. As I was doing some research recently, a lot of schools actually have implemented this grading policy where all students have unlimited retakes. They don't use that language, by the way. And basically, teachers are trained to think, what can you do to help pass these students, rather than putting the responsibility on the student. And so you have students that are being passed to the next grade level that probably deserved to fail that grade level or that class. So that's why you have things or news. Recently I saw something on the news about a student who can't read but graduated high school. The reason why that happens is because schools train teachers to do everything they can to pass the student, even though they don't know the material. So sometimes teachers are even pressured to pass certain students, and sometimes it's easier to just pass the students to just avoid all the madness, all the red tape, all the complaints from parents and all these other things, even though the student deserves to fail. Like, the student didn't show up every single day. The student never asked questions, never went to tutoring, never turned in their assignments on time. So another issue here is that you have students who will turn in assignments very last minute and they would still count. Any late assignments, you name it. So you have students that will wait into the last 2 weeks of the semester to do any work. So they'll just slack off throughout the semester, would sleep in class, would mess around or whatever. Why are charter schools getting away with this? Why are they promoting it? Why are other schools doing it as well? Well, here's the thing. This grading policy is excellent in order to get students into college. Not to retain them per se, but at least to get them into college. And schools are businesses. I mean, whether or not you like hearing that or saying that, that's the reality. And so if they can promote their school and say 100% of these students entered college, that's going to recruit more students into the school. So of course they're going to do anything for them to retain those numbers. 100% of them will go to a 4-year college, because it sounds great. But I wonder, what are the social and economical implications of this grading policy long term? Are students going to expect a lot from their employers with minimum effort? Are they going to know how to respond to failure in the real world, because in the real world they're not going to give you multiple opportunities for you to make up your work or whatever. Like, you have to do the work, you have to meet deadlines. Like, are they going to be able to know how to respond to failure? How will they sustain a job or even a relationship with this type of mentality of, I can accomplish XYZ with minimal effort, and that everything is shortcuts, right? Like, I can slack off and I can still do XYZ. And we all know that in order to accomplish XYZ, there needs to be a certain amount of investment in terms of work, time, energy, motivation, etc. But these students are not understanding what that looks like, because they're trained to think that you don't need to do a lot to pass your classes. Okay, last one, and this one, oh my goodness, every single day. College access. So my principal was actually he was very passionate about college access. The school was on board about it, and there's nothing wrong with going to college. Like, it's amazing. I'm very thankful for my college experience and how those experiences shaped me as a person and as a professional, etc. But here's the issue. We live in 2024, and we know we can pretend all we want that this isn't true, but reality check, there are many careers, vocational trading opportunities, that you do not need to have a college degree to have those jobs. I mean, you see it, people making money online, people making money on just selling crap and all these other things, and building their own businesses, their own Etsy store, all these like great, wonderful things that you don't see. They don't have college degrees. When schools limit the amount of opportunities for their future, you're actually kind of just promoting college and not giving them other avenues of success. And I think by limiting it, you're actually doing a disservice. It's not fair to just push students one certain pathway. And the principal would use rhetoric like, he understood that there were many teachers that didn't like that value, that college only. He would say things like, if college isn't for you, then maybe this isn't the right school for you. Those are not his exact words, but there was subtle messages that would lead to that. Obviously he was talking to the students, but it made me wonder whether or not I should be in that school if I actually disagree with what he believes in, right? I wish I would have been offered different avenues of success instead of just college, and that it has to be a 4-year college. To sum this up, depriving students from different avenues of success while claiming that you are for the students is hypocritical. Oh my gosh. I'll end with a positive. So teaching is a beautiful career, and I loved it. I really did love teaching, and it's just a shame that I had to quit for all those reasons. But I'll tell you what, that particular school actually paid really well, and I know it's very uncommon here in Nevada to be getting paid that amount of money, but I was, and I started off at $50K and then moved up to $78, and I was able to buy a home. I was able to buy my second car. I went on trips every summer, every spring break, and went, to South America, to Asia, all over Mexico. I think I went to like 17 states across the United States. It offered me a lot of money and opportunity as a single person. I didn't have a family back then, so So if for a single person, it was just, the money is phenomenal. And if you know how to, save and manage your money, like 78 is darn good, especially in Las Vegas. And I know a lot of teachers, especially teachers in charter schools, stay there because of the money. And I didn't want to be one of those teachers that will just stay because it pays well. And I know at that school there are teachers that are getting paid $100K, like 6 figures, which is incredible. However, there are just so many institutional issues that makes you wonder if it's even worth the money. So that's why when people are like, oh, we're underpaid and all these other things, and that raising teacher salaries will actually help resolve many institutional problems, it will not. I mean, it will short term, but at the end of the day, there's still so many institutional issues. I just think we're going to have many problems in the education field for many years, and I don't know. I don't feel optimistic that our schools will improve at all. I think they will worsen, especially as family dynamics are being destroyed, less marriages, and just because at the core of this, if you have strong families, you will have better behaving students. But if you don't have strong families, where you have a 2-parent household and they're making decent money, like it's not, sorry, but it's just, things are not going to get better. They will get worse. So I thank God that I had the privilege. Not everybody has this privilege, because a lot of teachers, they feel like they have no other option besides being a teacher, and I totally understand that. But for people like me, where we do have the privilege of leaving or staying, I chose to leave, and I miss working as a teacher, but it's just, that's just my decision. And I do think it is a beautiful career. For single people, I think teaching is a great thing to do. And if you can find a job that pays you really well, and you can go on different vacations and all these other things, I say do it before you get married. But once you get married and you start having children, I think just, I don't recommend teaching, because no. That's just my personal opinion. But that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye.